Hello, everybody. I know I talked to you all about resumes and cover letters in my last video, but I really wanted to highlight the job search and some tips and tricks to hopefully ease some of that anxiety or stress that might be related to the upcoming job search. And again, I do have another presentation that goes along with it, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with all of you and chat through some top tricks and tips that I have for you all. In terms of starting your process, I definitely recommend completing the North Carolina online teaching application that is at the link that I listed. That is an opportunity for you to see a multitude of jobs across the state. And with that, I would also create your profile on Handshake if you haven't already. So Handshake is the new online job posting board that we are using at the Career Center, and we are constantly updating the website with new positions and new jobs, and absolutely a great way for you to connect with different employers and find different positions. It is also a national platform, so you can see jobs that aren't just in North Carolina or in the surrounding area, but across different states all over the country. And it's really easy and user-friendly. It kind of looks like a combination of LinkedIn and Facebook. It also lists all of our events on there as well. In general, when it comes to the busiest season for hiring for school systems, it typically is between April and August, so kind of towards the tail end of the school year and during the summer months. So definitely be on the lookout for positions then. But with that, teachers are still hired after classes start in August, so don't get too nervous or scared if you're not jumping that position or getting that position right away. Oftentimes teachers aren't sure if they're returning for the next year or things change during the summer months, but the hiring process does take a little bit of time. So just be active and persistent with your job search. Also attend different job fairs. UNCW has their education, networking, and job fair on March 11th, 2019. So definitely be on the lookout for that. It is from 9 to 12, starting with a panel similar to what's been done last year. And then also the fair is opened up. And I believe last year we had 71 different employers. So a really fantastic opportunity for you to introduce yourself to different employers and also to practice that networking component because it is a big piece of landing a job. And with that being said, don't be afraid to mail, email, or even pop into different school systems and drop off a resume to the principal and meet with them and networking them. Don't just wait for jobs to be posted online to begin that process. I always tell people you need to work your job search, and applying online really is not enough just if you want to get a job quickly or efficiently, because oftentimes jobs are posted, but more than 70% of the time, that job is already filled before it is posted online because they have candidates in mind, or they have candidates that are dropping off their resume. But just going through the national process, you do have to post a job. So again, don't be afraid to pop into different school systems and network and make those connections. That can be done again in person at different job fairs, at different schools, or also through LinkedIn, which is a wonderful tool to connect with different school systems and also with alumni from across the country that could be working at a school that you could be interested in. Your connections really matter, and networking is so important in getting a job in this day society. With that, be very patient and be persistent. Talk to people in person, any opportunity that you can get, whether that's popping into a school system, attending our job fair, or other local colleges' job fairs. Follow up with phone calls, thank you notes after interviews. Really be personable, because I think in our profession, it is very important to build relationships, and that's just one way that you can do that. With that being said, if you are going to job fairs, or whether that's for your interview, or if you're just popping into a school to drop off your resume, dress professional. Your first impression is so important. And we always say the rule of thumb, the more conservative is typically better, because you don't want them to focus necessarily on what you're wearing, but what are your skills and what are your capabilities, and you don't want to be too distracting. So for women, typically a suit, like a matching top and pants, closed-toed shoes. If you're wearing a dress or a skirt, it definitely should be knee length, and wearing appropriate nude colored tights with that. No low-cut blouses, and no big distracting jewelry as well. Again, you don't want to draw too much attention away from your qualifications and your skills. For men, you want to match your socks to your pants. You want to have a shirt and a tie underneath your suit. Absolutely no tennis shoes. I know this seems kind of common sense, but you would be very surprised the things that people wear when it comes to job fairs or when they're coming in for an interview. Then in general, a neat haircut or hairstyle, good hygiene. You don't want too much perfume or cologne. It can be very distracting, and sometimes different scents don't mesh well with people. And then with that, always bring a briefcase or even a large purse or a portfolio, padfolio that has copies of your resume and cover letters, or even different samples of your work or lessons that you've taught in the past. Those can all be great things to have with you and great talking points when you're meeting with employers, when you're at a job fair. In general, you always want to have copies of your resume to provide for some who might not have seen it. Lastly, have your credentials ready well before the job search, and some of the credentials include your resume, your cover letter, absolutely. I know we already talked about that, but definitely have those ready, critiqued, and looked at, and definitely come to the Career Center for that, or have some of your peers, your professors, or within the school system that you are doing some of your student teaching at, have somebody look over that. Your transcripts, your letter of completion from the Watson College of Education, absolutely have at least 3 to 5 letters of recommendation. So whether that's by the school systems that you did your student teaching for, professors, have those in mind, and also ask them way ahead of time. In order to write a good letter of recommendation, they need to have proper time and have a good understanding of what the job is that you're applying for. So you definitely want to do that way in advance. Also, your practice scores if necessary. And then lastly, which is very obvious, but prepare and practice for your interview, whether that is doing mock interviews here at the Career Center, within the school system that you're doing your student teaching for, with a class, professor, your student, like your peers, whatever that looks like. Practice makes perfect, and interviews can be very difficult and very intimidating, but the more practice, the easier it is. We also do have a resource at UNCW now called Big Interview, and what that is an online resource that does simulated mock interviews on the most often asked questions. You can also specify that by different industry as well. So again, it also records you so you can see your different isms. Are you playing with your hair? Are you fidgeting too much? Are you saying way too often? So again, a really awesome resource, and it's never too early to start practicing that process, especially because graduation season comes really quickly, and you don't want to miss out on great opportunities by not being prepared ahead of time. So again, I know I talked very briefly on different job search strategies. I would love to dive more into this or answer any more specific questions. Please feel free to make an appointment or drop in during express hours for any questions that you might have. I would love to connect with all of you, and I look forward to seeing you in upcoming events or through appointments or just in some of your classrooms. Thank you.